Good and a very good morning to all. Thank you to all participants who attend today webinar. So today we will have a webinar series. Is industry taking over higher education? How stackable and alternative credential are reviewing US higher education? So for today we have Prof. Dr. Hanim, Binti Saleh, um, so without further ado, we would like to proceed to Prof.
Okay, thank you so much.
Alright, okay. Thank you,
Yeah,
Prof.
Dr. Jana. Yeah. Okay. Let me know if you can see my slide.
Yes, Prof, we can see your slide.
Okay, so I can start. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to everyone. Thank you very much for being able to be with me this morning. And so you can see that today's topic is industry taking over higher education. Yeah, is just a gimmick or a question for us to answer because we have heard a lot of things about, maybe one day there will be no university. Industry can also offer their own micro credentials, and maybe taking over higher education. So that's why we want to see what are the trends in the United States and how are we gonna adapt to the situation and how we're gonna see how to stack and also looking at alternative credentials. So I'm gonna have some introduction, definitions, and also the main part will be the 7 trends and also recommendations for Unit 10. And I really hope at the end of this presentation, you are going to share with me what are your thoughts. I mean, you feel free if you want to also write something in the chat box. It's just I cannot see the chat box at this point, but maybe I will check it right after the presentation. Okay, so first of all, okay, we can see like because I did my study in the US, so I have all the data in terms of US data. Basically, I'm also doing comparisons with ASEAN and Malaysia, and it is very obvious US is very large country, and now they have more than 1 million micro credentials, badges, yeah, badges in terms of digital badges and also micro credentials. So you can see here 1.8 million is uh, basically 1.8 million is basically credentials means it's everything. Yeah, it's not just digital credentials, but also includes other kinds of credentials, including degrees and so on. So the one that I highlighted in blue, basically, we can see roughly we have like online digital badges and micro credentials. So we can really see, and a lot of these are also from industries. And you can see as well, what are the response from the employers and students about these micro credentials uprise. This is from Coursera, one of the largest platform that offer digital learning. Oops. And you can see from that statistics as well, it's actually uprising. It's not just in the US, it's basically around the world. And I don't know what happened to Malaysia. We're still catching up. And you see from this, we want to see what about the industrial and professional certificates. And we know that students or learners are likely to enroll in a degree program that offer industry micro credentials. About 76% from a survey from Coursera. And 88% of employees believe that professional certificates strengthen a candidate's job application. And 90% of students agree that professional certificate will help them secure a job. So this is not the issue whether degrees disappear, but we want to see what happened to our learners. we know that, just for example, Uniten is having tough time getting students. Where do they go? Maybe there are also people who do not want to pursue degree, but they want to do professional certificates. They want to get straight to the workforce. So this is also what happened around the world. And how do you do that? So that's why, as a higher education, to stay relevant, we need to make sure we know where are the learners now. Where do we can actually solve the problems of our low enrollment. Okay, so let us take a look at the definitions. Um, in the US, we are using the terms non-degree credentials. Alternative credentials and non-degree credentials, I would say, is some people say it's not the same, but it's actually the same. In the US, they use non-degree credentials. It's just saying that other than degree, because we want to differentiate it with traditional degree. Same as alternative credentials. It's outside the traditional formal qualifications. But in terms of maybe in Malaysia, we are following the alternative credentials rather than, I think we never heard of this NDC. What is stackable credentials? Is basically smaller credentials that you design to build into a larger pathway. So, and industry credentials is credentials valued by employers, professional bodies, and or regulators. So these are some of the definitions so that we are on the same page. When in this presentation, I'm going to use alternative credentials. All right. So this is also in the US, how they actually see this thing. This was back in 2020. They already started on how they're gonna stack some of these credentials because of the uprising of the industry certificates, micro credentials, and so on. So you, in a degree, you can actually stack all these types of certificates. Maybe at that time they were thinking of like badges. Digital badges are basically how you portray that you have learned or obtained certain outcomes, and you display it through digital badges. Certificates can just be certificate. It can be manual. It can also be digital, but the digital nowadays of your certificates, or to present your certificates digitally, is normally called digital badges. So some places they use it interchangeably, but normally we say the badges is normally in digital. Yeah, certificate is actually the qualification of certain short course or certain certificate that you have. There's another category you call certifications. So that may be a different type. Certifications is more of like the one that you need to get for certain professions. Okay, so you can actually stack a lot of this into a degree. Okay, so let us go through a little bit on the 7 trends in the US. The first one is degrees are being unbundled into smaller verified units. We have seen the statistics, okay? And I know like in Malaysia as well, we have been talking about this as well. We are not like left behind. We are in the same way. But I guess the main difference is in the US, they innovate a lot more faster. Yeah, and then with the digital platforms, they have so many digital platforms, and there's so many programs there. So that's why it increased, or it actually expanded very fast. Yeah. So I think this is not new for everyone. We talk about micro credentials. It's actually we know, if it's just like us, right? I think everyone wants to like to study in a small portion, and then a small portion, then you got a badge or you got a certificate. You feel some achievement. So you know so that's why this can be nowadays is a trend, not just in the US, but also in the whole world. And for each of the trend, I also included some of the references. You can see how the universities are basically doing it, how they stack it. Um, one of the example is SUNY, or State University of New York. They have a very good example of micro-credentials. So SUNY is basically a system where it consists of many universities, similarly like UITM, but some of the universities, they are basically autonomy on its own. Yeah, they have their own program and so on, but it's under an umbrella of SUNY system. And there are a lot of these kind of state universities that have many branches or campuses around the US. So SUNY is one of the example. So this is also one of the example I just managed. This is actually from MQA, recently published. It's basically published in September last year. I'm not sure if you have seen this book from MQA, not book, we call it Playbook of Alternative Credentials. Maybe you can put up your hands if you have heard of this guideline from, or Playbook from MQA, Alternative Credentials. So I was like looking at it. Oh, I said it's actually has an example from the US. So this is an example, manufacturing production certificates. So they actually stack. So this is an example where you have micro learning and you have stackable. So you actually design your curriculum such a way that you do have it plan. Okay, when we actually design our micro credentials, it cannot just be standalone. I mean, in the beginning, maybe we design it standalone, but after that, people have improved and innovate, so people see it as something need to be stackable and actually towards a degree pathway. Yeah, so this is just another example. Another one is MIT. So MIT has a lot of free courses, previously known like MOOC, but nowadays they do have the sections where you have to pay. All the materials, if you want to do any benchmarking, MIT has a lot of free courses. Just open up to everyone. You can download their materials and so on. It's just when you want to get the certificate, that's where you need to pay. So that is its concept. So MicroMasters, you can see here, it's trademark by MIT. Nobody else can use this. But this is how you can think if you're, I'm not sure if the many of program coordinators attending now, but this is one of the things when you want to innovate your curriculum, you want to update your curriculum, think about this as well. How do you make sure your master's program is somewhat like MIT? They have these MicroMasters. Okay. So trend 2 is employer branded credentials are entering the university space. I'm sure you have heard of this. I'm not sure in Malaysia which university has incorporated this, but this is already trending in the US. They take, because we have seen the phenomena and we have talked about how these industries, they are offering all these micro credentials. They are doing it very fast, and that's why some of the learners, they don't need to go to school, because previously we have universities. Why? Because we want to train the learners or the students so that they get a job. But now industry has shortcut all this, and they have their own training, and the students say, oh, I just go for that training, and they finally got a job. Okay, after that training, these companies are basically going to take them. So that's why, to stay relevant, a lot of universities are basically trying to get this part of the pool of the students market or the learners market, after they have got these credentials from industry, they should be enticed towards the university. Or the other way around as well, you need to incorporate these industry certificates inside the curriculum. So that's what they realize, in order to make sure that your program has a value. So one of the things that they do is basically they include this as part of their program. It can be as credit or non-credit. So some of it is being used in University of Texas system. So it's quite similar to SUNY. They have a lot of universities around and around the US under University of Texas system. Okay, so this is an example. This one is snapshot from Coursera. So Coursera also has, I mean, Coursera is a business, right? But they now offer a lot of degree, a lot of online degrees, a lot of professional certificates. So they are the platform. I'm sure you have heard of Coursera. This is just to show you that a lot of these universities, there are all these examples, not just in the United States, but all other around. Um, they have credit or non-credit and for credit. Yeah. So how do they actually map it to the current program? So sometimes they say, oh, it's for graduation requirement if it's not non-credit. Because if you say no credit, maybe the students will not take it, right? So that's why you need to make sure if you want the students to take it, it has to be like graduation requirement. But if it's for credit, then it's easy. So they say, oh, this is part of the electives. I know like some of the programs, you do have this free electives. Yeah. So these are the types of the popular courses in Coursera and all these Google, Meta, yeah, IBM. Yeah, there are others here. You can see all these professional certificates that are being offered by Coursera, and there are guided projects and so on. So this is an example how the industry actually shaped the higher educations, not just in the US, but also in all over the world. Okay, trend number 3 is credit and non-credit systems are converging. So a lot of times we say, also maybe in Malaysia, we say, all our micro-credentials has credits. So in the US, it's not so. They can have a non-credit micro-credentials as well. Okay, so how do they do that? It's basically they are building bridges between this co-curricular, continuing education, employer training, and formal credit pathways. So when we started, I guess in Uniton, we also started our micro-credentials program, right? We unbundle it from our formal program. But actually, in the United States, you can just have any kind of micro-credentials that maybe is non-credit, but you can, just like what I showed you just now, it can be as graduation requirements, or you can evaluate it to be transferred later on. You can also have that. Because in the United States, some of the courses, they also offer to high school. So it's kind of interesting as well. I think we haven't heard it in Malaysia. We cannot transfer. These are the things maybe in the future I would like to bring to MQA in the future. Maybe we should consider this. Open up kind of a credit transfer from high school, because their high school is like our Form 6, maybe because they have until 12, K-12, they call it. 12 years is like Form 6, so they can transfer. But it's not like the high school is offering it, but the university is offering it. So during high school, they can take courses or experiential learning in the university, and it's like to entice them to go to that university, so they can get credits if they decide to go to the university. So it's kind of interesting thing as well. Maybe that we learn from the US. Okay, I also put all over here, MIT, SUNY. How do they do it when you have non-credit? So we are not just talking about unbundle our program. We also talking about all other type of experiential learning from our current programs, maybe student development programs, and also continuing education, like short courses. All right, digital credentialing. So this is trend number 4. So this is very, very important because we have so many people are offering things. This is very important to have a badge or transcript that you can share. You can share in your LinkedIn nowadays, right? You can share through digital and it's verified like a blog. You can say like using a secured or verified trusted issuer. Actually, there are already out there a lot of market that having these platforms already. So maybe you just need the money to actually use the services. Okay. So this, I give you an example. Recently I went to Rutgers, and they shared with me that they do have kind of like credentials or badges. So they design the badges, but these badges can be shared as well. So they call it badges because that is how you actually share it with other people. But in terms of the micro credentials, so don't confuse micro credentials and badges. Badges are just to show that you have achieved certain skills, and it can be related. Okay. Sometimes you get the badge, but it's not through micro credentials. So as we have said just now, okay, some of these like student experience, they can also get these badges. It can be standalone badges because micro credential normally we say academic badges. It can be other type of badges. You can have professional badges, student life badges. So that's why I think I told Dr. Jehanna, maybe we need to look at this. We do have a lot. I think now we have Scoran, for example. So it's good that Scoran maybe is just like another report, right? But where you cannot share in the LinkedIn or whatever. So we may, one of the suggestions, maybe we convert those Corans as badges. So these badges can be shared by the students or learners, even the staff. I think in Rutgers and UMBC, they use these badges are not just for students, it's also for the staff, for their own professional development. So that is how nowadays this is the trend, yeah, using digital badges or digital certificates so that you can share around and you have a trusted issuer. So same as UMBC is University of Maryland, Baltimore County. So I'm gonna go to this university as well next week. But I had a meeting with them and they told me about how their how do they progress, yeah, from one for all the how do they design all the badges and also how do they actually implement. They are following the Bloom's taxonomy and the types of badges that they have. Maybe if you browse the link, you can see how they do it. Okay, trend number 5. Okay, so trend number 5 is on the career relevance. So of course, we do have like first years or like career fair, something like that, right? Or exposure on how do they actually do resume, or how do they go into workplace, this orientation or seminars for students before they actually go to work. And the trend is they don't do it at the final year. So they do it earlier, okay, so that the students are really excited and know what are they preparing for. Yeah, so they do have these first year seminars and they have badges, exploration certificates. So they do have these special programs. So basically, I think we do have that in Uniton. It's just we don't have the badges. So they call with the special programs. This is very, very interesting. Maybe for those for DD of Student Affairs or those who are actually looking into student development and student affairs is something that you can look into. Trend number 6 is on the governance and quality assurance. This is very important, and a lot of times, maybe in the US, there are more autonomy They don't have like MQA like in Malaysia, so that's why maybe they can just do a lot of things on their own and progress a bit more faster than in Malaysia. But it is a very important issue. They also been talking about it. It's more chaos in the US than in Malaysia. Malaysia has a very good quality assurance system. It's just maybe some of us gonna have problem in terms of, you know, oh, I have to think if I do micro credentials, it has to go through approval review. But this point is very, very important. We need to make sure that we plan our if you want to do micro credentials or badges, or you know, how we're going to do our alternative credentials. We need to make sure that is being approved, review, and know the taxonomy, the learning outcomes, and follow the assessment standards. Okay, so trend number 7. So this is the last trend. This has been a talk throughout the United States, where they want to have this comprehensive learner and employment records. And they are talking from the top in terms of the policy, from the Department of Labor, and also education. So it's quite interesting. In the US, a lot of times people talk about learn and work. And the departments like try to work together. The Department of Education and Department of Labor, they're talking together. I see it maybe slightly different in Malaysia, where we don't really see like a record, something like this. Yeah, this comprehensive learner record, they are looking into how they can put all the information in terms of the K-12 is school, yeah, school experience, and then how they go to higher education, military service, career. So everything is like your lifelong learning passport. And people are here talking about like, how do you support labor market and also lifelong learning, because people are towards aging society. I mean, people can live for 100 years. So you need to make sure you provide a good education. But what is good as a university? So this is where you can see you can attract learners. So maybe in Uni10, we have to think about it. This is really good because people are gonna have a very long life now. You know, people can go to 100 years, and universities should offer all these lifelong learning courses. So this is very interesting. So there are a few examples here. So how do they actually do these comprehensive learning records? I mean, it takes a while. It doesn't like build in one day. It needs a platform where you have all the information and map all the experience throughout. So before they can start with a person's life passport, they has to start from the university. So there are initiatives from a lot of universities having this record. So this is just an example. Maybe in Uni10 we have like transcripts. Okay, transcripts is just result, and then we have scoreline. So at least these are already a good start. Yeah, but in this case they have more. They have not just like they have certificates in there, and then their experiences. So this is just like one part from that certificate, and they have details. But who decide on this? So one of the there's like a society or consortium in the United States where they have like standards that they built, so that everyone around the US, or maybe a lot of the universities follow that standards. Yeah. So they put all these things, the lifelong learning and also the records of their academic records in this comprehensive learning record. So that is something maybe we don't have yet in Malaysia, something that we can look into. Okay, so based on my study, basically I studied around 43 cases from different universities, looking at my credentials, how they actually embed into degree programs. These are the model of integrations. I mean, it's quite similar to what we have in Malaysia. If you want to if you have industry credentials, you can actually embed the credential inside the curriculum. Okay, maybe you can inside in a course. Okay, you can see this arrow. So based on that, you get a degree. So it can just be part of a course. It can be just you do it outside and you get a prior learning assessment. If it's in Malaysia, we call it APEL. Okay, and then we get the degree. Okay, it can also be a combination. You can see that's why the arrow goes like this. Yeah, so it can be a combination A, B, C, D as well and get a degree. So the third one is articulated pathways. So this one is through an agreement with certain companies or certain institutions. So it's called articulation agreement, and you package it. Um, this one can be not necessarily from the institutions. It can be also this one through credit transfer, basically can also be a credit transfer from for that. Model D is stacking pathways. This one, basically, you have many of these micro credentials. You stack it, and also can be via credit transfer. It can be from outside. Some universities, they are just unbundling their programs, so it can also be their own micro credentials. But if you're talking about industry certificates or other university certificates or micro credentials, so you can go for credit transfer. All right. The Model E is maybe something that we don't have in Malaysia is apprentice. In Malaysia, the concept of work-based learning is slightly different. In the US, this is more like they are working, but they are at the same time they take micro credentials and they get paid. Means they are working and studying, and they collect and stack it, and they get a degree program. Normally, it's being done by the community college where they get associate degree. I guess it's quite similar to what I showed in the earlier slide. They compile all the certificates. They get associate degree. From the associate degree, you can transfer to another university from community college. You go to another university, maybe you can apply for credit transfer and you can get degree programs. So this can also happen. So Model E, maybe we can see in community colleges. Okay, so in a university, you can have all these pathways because we want to understand how do you actually get from industry certificates, or how do we take micro credentials from other universities. So these are the pathways so that we understand that when we design our curriculum, this can also be something that we want to look into. Okay. So adoption of credential to degree integration, based on those models, these are the things that are happening. As I said, for more than 400 accredited US institutions are actually taking these industry certificates, mainstreaming, curriculum embedding, and also employer demand reinforcing adoption. So basically, this just shows that how the industry are actually affecting the higher education, and we don't want to be left behind, because this is actually a pool of learners. You can also get people from industries to go to us. Now we cannot limit our students to just age after SPM. Every time SPM, I know like now is promotion. Of course, I encourage that, but we have to see it in a different way now. It's not just students from SPM. We can actually, with this lifelong learning, we can actually go for other larger market, yeah, and also plus TNB stuff. Okay, great. So we have talked about the 7 trends, and these are the my observations, basically, people here in the US, they say why I want to come to US because it's a very chaotic system. But Alhamdulillah, I'm glad I see it in a different way. US also it's very decentralized, but it's also innovation heavy because they are not bounded by a specific compulsory or rigid uh, framework basically. So they are more autonomy in a lot of ways, so they can maybe innovate faster. Strong employee participation, like some of these, like I went to Georgia Tech last time. All these companies are just next door to them, the Google or whatever, of course. So they can have a very strong employee participations. They are just next door neighbors, and they really want our students. Compared to Malaysia, maybe we have small pool of big industries that want our students. But UNITEN is fortunate we have TNB. So how do we actually leverage that? Yeah. They have a rapid growth of all these alternative credentials. And Malaysia can actually learn from this, but we are glad that we are very strong in our QA or MQA. We have a national qualifications framework. So that is how we can see this. Yeah. Okay, so general recommendations. This is what I suggested. I presented it in the magnetic network 2 days ago. So this is what I'm suggesting. How do we actually move from isolated micro-credentials to stackable pathways? And how do we need to make sure the standardized recognition, especially maybe with all the networks, we have magnetic, for example, or MyCon. I think with the networks, we can work through how do we actually try to standardize certain recognitions for certain industries and so on. But of course, we do have guidelines from MQA. Embed career relevance earlier in degree programs. I think UNITEN last time do have this program, but now maybe we need to improvise. How do we actually try to include digital badges so that the learners will get excited and appreciate it, and it's something to attract, or it's an innovation for our program. Build trusted digital credential and learner record infrastructure. This can be a long-term phase. Strengthen governance and outcome tracking. So this one I think is not yet in Malaysia. We do have tracking of employability, but in the US they talk about if you go to University A, what will be your salary compared to University B. So to that extent, they are very market driven, and they always talk about ROI because going to university is very, very expensive. So they do have report cards for all the universities. What will be the average earnings when you go to this university versus that university? So it can help the parents too, isn't it? So something that we can look into, a good outcome on that. Okay. Now, suggestions for Unit 10. I want to suggest, so this is what I want to suggest. Maybe we can start with branding our programs. Maybe we start with something that we know or simple, like Google or what. The one that has brand, branded degree plus industry credential or top university micro credentials. This can help to brand our program and to attract people. So for example, now MIT certificates, you can learn a course from MIT from here. So why not? We have this kind of special, because UNITEN do have a market for T20. So we need to be able to do that if we really get a good market, or even sponsorship from TNB on that. So I think we can do this. And then convert existing learning into digital badges. So this is something that we can look into. plan a university-wide digital batch framework and pilot a batch series. Number 3 is convert short courses. I'm not sure if any of you are actually in charge of any of you in Uniton Ventures. I'm already out of tune about who's who in Uniton now. But these can be redesigned into something in MQA. They already released what they call ICA, alternative credentials, that actually do for industries. So actually there are a lot of courses that we offer to industry as well. So we can convert that into how that can be a face-to-face or blended micro-credential aligned with this principle, yeah. I can't remember ICA, what was ICA, but it's accelerated industry. Yeah. So alternative credentials that use accelerated industry, where you can work with ILSAS or TNB, yeah, to work on it, or even any other industries. We can help them change into a digital micro credentials. Then we can offer this kind of micro credentials from the short courses. So remember, I realized that even in MIT, not all of the micro credentials are fully online. The main thing is they offer an online platform, but they are actually face to face, means synchronous. Yeah, asynchronous means that you need to um, register at certain time during the semester time. So it doesn't have to be fully online. It doesn't need SIM. So this can also be done, same as all the student activities and so on. You don't need micro credentials. Is not necessarily everything has to be online. Okay. Uh, then the last one, maybe the new, if you want to develop a new MCs in the niche area of our niche area and have it stackable. So that will be, these are my suggestions. Maybe, I don't know, Dr. Jehana maybe going to join us later. But hopefully this one is recorded. I haven't shown to Dr. Jehana. I'm just like, suka hati lah kan, bagi cadangan. All right. So of course, the rest, those are like maybe some of the low-hanging fruits and according to phases, and these are just like general reminder that we do need some governance, recognition of framework, digital platform. So these are the things that we need to take care about as well, and need to get approved from the top in the beginning before we actually start anything. So industry is not taking over higher education. It is forcing us to become more modular, more flexible, more transparent, and employment facing. So what are your views? I want to listen to your views. So these are the related guidelines and references. So I will stop sharing. I cannot see your faces. So well, thank you so much. Wow, 64 of you. Thank you so much. Please ask questions. So sorry, so long. Please ask questions. Just open up your mic.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Waalaikumsalam.
Hanaim. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thanks. Ziana
Yes, I
dah
am.
balik Unitan ke?
Oh, belum lagi.
Okay, overseas juga ni
Okay, anyway, thank you so much, Prof. Hanim, for a very interesting and I think very insightful presentation. I have 3 questions to get your opinion. Number one, which type of credential that has attracted most participation in United States? And following to that, what maybe based on your observation, what are the factors that would attract most participation? And number 3, which area, if you have this data, which area or field that has been offered most by those universities Yeah, that's all my question. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you so much. Oi, bagus soalan tu. Thank you so much. Very good questions. Yeah, if you remember, I did show just now on the apa tadi? Coursera, because I realized like Coursera is the one that actually offer a lot of courses. Yeah, I think maybe I don't have the report here. Oh, can you see the slide? Hello. Basically, as I said, I showed this one, right? These are among the most popular certificate you can see. So the area is, of course, nowadays, like AI, IT, in that area. I mean, but they do have this like project management, but these are they already put here in terms of the most popular certificate. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Apa lagi satu?
So yeah, most popular certificate is based on the numbers of people subscribing to that course, is it?
Yes, because I think they call it in Coursera, they call it Career Academy, because they just want a fast industry certificates that will help them. And also why? You said why? Why? Because these people will normally, if they have this, they already have a data. There's a report actually from Coursera. They have a data. I think about 70 or 80% of them who take this certificate, they will get a job, something like that. They try to correlate, of course, for their business, but in a way, it does make sense because they do get good or this company are really big in the US, so they sometimes want people who took their own certificate to work with them. Yeah, IBM as well, Meta. So what actually attract the learners is always whether that certificate is actually going to give value to them, whether they can get a job. Like this one, Coursera, they always like promote, oh, this kind of certificate will give you jobs. So they always relate that. So that is how we do our marketing as well, right? We need to make sure our program show that the employability is like very fast or high percentage or get a lot of salary. Yeah. Okay, I think there's an evaluation form. It's already 10:50. Maybe I want to listen to any deputy deans here coming or any program coordinators, please say something.
Prof. Wahida here. I would like to ask a
Yeah.
question. How are you?
Yeah, Wahida, fine, thanks. How are you?
Are you
I
enjoying?
teringat kat you kan? Tiba jumpa you sini.
Anyway, Prof,
Okay.
ada tak course dia kat sana yang combine dengan requirement government dia sendiri untuk ambil that particular course sebelum diorang masuk kerja, so that the number of staff siapa-siapa je lah yang register for the MC tu lebih banyak daripada instead of kita terpaksa promote kepada anybody in the public.
I macam tak faham soalan tu.
Contohnya macam I saw in Texas hari tu, dia macam kalau dia nak kerja certain bahagian dekat government, wajib untuk orang tu ambil machine learning punya course. So because of that, machine learning macam boom lah sebab dia menjadi part of the government standard untuk everybody to take it. So did you find the same in GWU ataupun in any practice up in the north?
Itulah, I tak adalah study sampai macam tu kan. But I reckon of course, those kind of courses memang laku lah. Mungkin I tak ada data yang kalau AI and so on tu memang. Because AI, I tengok most of the university akan embed that in the university curriculum kan. So they try to have that lah. So sorry lah tak menjawab soalan you tu because I tak tahu yang tu. Apa
tak apa.
nama
Okay,
course tu?
Ya. Satu lagi I nak tanya, the way that diorang prepare the material, sebab kadang-kadang kita nak buat MC tapi tak cukup masa. So ada tak diorang macam jenis yang ada satu group yang hanya untuk prepare course sahaja, tapi yang mengajar is the lecturer? Because I saw this pattern at one of university, so dia separate orang. So the generation dia macam course generator, something like that lah.
Ya, memang dia mesti ada yang apa dia panggil tu? Instructional expert kan? Itu memang selalunya dia orang ada lah. Tapi I don't know, I kadang kelakar juga. I really thought like they're really like us, with the, I mean tak semua lah universiti macam ni kan, but the one that I asked, I thought all their digital badges or micro credentials are online. They said no, it's just the normal one, they convert jadi digital badges. You understand? Micro credentials also. I'm surprised as well. I look at micro masters MIT. A lot of it are like not self-paced. It's all face-to-face, synchronous.
I see.
I mean, to me, we learn. I mean, don't worry because kita pun tahu micro credentials is not necessarily all online. I mean, that's what bogged us down, right? We need to like nak kena buat SIM and so on. I mean, mungkin you partially slowly, but if you want to offer, you can go along this way as well. Macam digital badges tak semestinya dia micro credential online kan. They just like achievement badges. So dia ada that kind of university yang go with that first lah, because I think it's the same. They do feel like some of the academics they are bogged down with other things. So
yeah, but I like your idea. I mean, your view on less rigidity tu, that make things macam possible. Ada idea je, tested, make it work. So less much of thinking nanti akan jadi apa. They like to test dulu kan apa-apa.
I think they are like that. Then believe me, although I've studied like a lot of cases, tapi yalah, in the US there are like thousands of universities. Tak semua ada yang tak buat for micro credential ni. So I mean, cumanya dia memang banyak lah kan. The micro credentials are a lot because they have so many universities. But good universities, they do that. And I tak sempat share for branding, like Purdue University, they have with Google, they do have like certificates. They show like the certificates with to Google and also the logo of the university, So they're not just taking, means they have like agreement with Google as well.
I see. Thank you so much, Prof, for your time answering those questions.
Thank you so much.
When are you coming home?
Itulah 1 more month, I guess. mid-April, insyaAllah. Raya sini.
Alright,
okay. Ada lagi tak? Thank you for the question.
Hello, Prof.
Hi, Vivian.
I am Vivian.
Yeah, I know. Yes, question.
So, Prof, it seems that, it's like it claims that these are all the credentials from the US, right? It helps their people to get employed, right? So, but then I don't, but when we see the employment rate, the unemployment rate in US, right? So we can see that it is actually increasing. So up to like 4.5.
Of course, they have more now.
It's compared to Malaysia, right? It's only like 2 point something. Okay. So how do we see that? Does it correlate with their credential? And then I'm meaning that, so being more straightforward is that I don't see the correlationship. So or maybe not, when they say so.
Yeah, thank you for the questions. Thank you for the question. Very good question. I think because US is so huge and there are many types of people. Not all of them want to learn the, or maybe the economy now is not that good here actually. So I would say that's why the employability also very low compared very high compared to Malaysia. All the surveys are like just among, for example, Coursera, they just taking, among the learners that they have, it's limited data. Yeah, so I think and they have I don't know what else to say, but these are the things that you that's why I said it's not all good things here, of course. But we just want to take the good things about how they offer micro credentials and so on. How do they develop with industries? I think that's the good point that we want to take. Yeah, the rest, there are a lot of things that you don't want to take.
Because it seems that they claim that it helps employability, increase the employability of undergraduates or
Yeah,
the
it's not
students.
direct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the
So
survey,
no hard
as I said,
evidence in a way that, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe because the employability, the one that you said, the rate is all the learners. But this one, they just take the one that's taking their courses, so it's different, right?
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
outside, if you don't get a job, maybe they are not in the pool of those who are taking the courses. So that survey is limited. Of course, you
Thank you.
don't,
Thank
but
you
it's
for
good that it's good that you want to see that correlation. Oh yeah, Dr. Abud, go ahead.
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Waalaikumsalam,
Sama berpuasa.
Ya, sama
Okay.
pasti. Malam
Okay.
sini, pukul 11 malam.
Something this trigger me. Kalau kita nak tengok on this project, students are the engine lah for this type of future project for me lah. But my inquiry is, how can universities encourage students to actively pursue macro credential rather than to viewing them as an optional add-ons to their regularly education system that exists currently. Because currently macro credential is considered like an optional. Okay. So students actually, as per my viewing lah, maybe I don't have a clear statistics, but I don't see there is a high tendency to go through this type of programs that really can benefit them. So how we can steer and motivate, in your opinion, the universities, how they can play the role that to encourage students to actively pursue micro-credential rather than to viewing them as optional adds-ons that has a little impact on their degree.
Oh, of course. If you don't say it's compulsory for their degree, they don't take it. So that's why, if you remember, I showed you just now, that university want to have Google certificates in their program. They have problem maybe mapping to their program, so they ask the students to take it as a graduation requirement. Some university, they map directly to their curriculum, like project management and so on. So they already map in their curriculum.
Embedded in their curriculum.
Embedded. Remember I showed you there are like 5 models you can embed in your curriculum. There are a few ways. Sometimes they do outside. We say, oh, if you do this outside, we can take it as credit transfer. Or maybe you put it already inside. You already embed in your curriculum. So those are the things that we need to think. But of course, I agree with you. Anything just like what Dr. Vivian mentioned, it's very important to get some feedback from the learners themselves. Just like when we do new program, right? We do survey whether people gonna take this course or not, and of course there are a lot of other considerations.
That's why you
This
say the
talk, yeah.
rebranding lah, rebranding of the program.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. And also, I keep emphasizing nowadays we cannot rely on the after SPM student. We need to think of the long, like the upskilling, the reskilling stuff, all the how many thousands of TNB stuff, the industry stuff. You know, we have to think that way when we design our micro credentials. Maybe you're gonna aim this. Siapa yang in charge ni, Unit 10 Venture ni? You aim this group. And then at the same time, we said that, oh, if you take these courses, you can actually partially transfer to our program. Or some, I know like some universities, they make it like if you have taken our micro credentials, we can consider like an access to our program. Ada juga yang macam tu. Yeah, there are many, interestingly, there are many types. Not necessarily they can transfer credits because sometimes to transfer credits is a bit difficult to map, right? So some they said, oh, you get discount if you taken our micro credentials, you know, maybe the TMB stuff, for example, yeah. So this, if you want to pursue maybe master's program, or you get discount, you know, so many things that we can try to think how to attract learners. Now we don't just talking about students, our market will be learners, the lifelong learners that can be up till 100 years old now. So the market is really, really big. Yeah.
Agree. Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, it's already 11:04. So thank you so much, everyone. Sorry if there are any weaknesses from me. So thank you very much for your attendance. And hopefully, on behalf of KAFEL, maybe just fill up the attendance and evaluation form. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Assalamualaikum.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Prof. Bye.
Thanks, Prof.
Yeah.
Bye, Prof. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Welcome.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
Welcome.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof. Selamat Hari Raya.
Yeah. Oi, awalnya Hari Raya. Selamat Hari Raya.